You're listening to the Beyond Sundays podcast. Welcome back, you guys, and Happy New Year. Today is a pretty special episode as we kick off 2023 because today I have my precious family in the studio with me. We're going to talk about so many different things, including how we pray into asking the Lord for a word for the next year that we'd like to carry with us into each new year. We're going to talk about organizational tips and tricks we use in our family, communication, expectations, as well as how we use our family calendar and even some of our family values. Y'all, I am just going to tell you now, I'm not editing this conversation. Nope, I'm just going to let it just be raw and real. So there's no telling what might come out of my kids' mouths, but I think it'll be fun. So let's get to it. Well, hey, Geoffrey Turner, how's it going?
I am swell. How are you, Sarah?
I am doing so good, and I'm excited to have some guests with us today. Who do we have?
I am excited. I am nervous.
I am too.
So this is actually, in all honesty, we usually do podcasts, and it's just we press record and then we just go. This is take two. Because we got out of control the first one, and then while we set up for the second one, we basically had a burping contest into the microphones. So we're gonna see how this goes.
We're trying it again.
We have our two daughters here.
Heyo.
That was Berkley.
Yes,
She's
sir.
our oldest, and then we have Ellie.
Heyo. Big time of blow. Oh my gosh.
If you've heard me preach, you've heard me talk about the girls. Now you get to hear from them, and honestly, we have no idea what they might say, and that's always frightening as a parent. So Berkley, you are 11.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about you, what you like to do. You don't have to go into like super huge details. If you've got a boyfriend, you could tell the whole podcast. We could all know.
I don't.
Okay, just making sure. I wanted to see if I could pull that out of you right now. But tell us a little bit about you.
So I'm Berkley. I'm 11. I go to Wiley West. I'm in 6th grade. I go to Beltway, obviously.
It'd be really weird if you didn't when both of your parents are pastors.
I like to sing and act and play with Ellie.
Awesome. And you're in something.
I'm in a play.
Yeah. And
You are who?
What role?
The lead. I'm Matilda.
You are Matilda, who's a rebellious child in the play.
Yes, I am a rebellious child of the play and in real life.
Sometimes, yeah. Sometimes. Only really in the morning. That is when your rebellion begins.
Yes.
You are a ward to get out of bed right now, aren't you?
Whatever.
Ellie, tell us a little bit about you.
I go to Wiley West Intermediate School. My name's Ellie Catherine Turner.
Mm-hmm.
When I was little...
What's your social security number since you're giving out all your info?
What?
I know, you don't know what that is.
I don't either. I don't.
Okay, tell us a little bit more about you.
When I was younger, I used to say, because people call me Ellie Kate Turner, I used to say Ellie Kate Catherine Turner. You did. And then I would have 4 names.
So what do you like to do?
I love hip-hop.
You love to dance. You do ballet at Beltway.
Yeah.
Just had your recital.
Even though it's...
And I just turned 9, too.
Just turned 9.
Happy birthday.
Big little while.
Mm-hmm.
Well, cool.
What's your favorite subject at school? Math.
Oh, let's do this, because this is always fun, because you two were raised by the same parents. Mm-hmm. So, Ellie, what is your favorite subject? It's math. What's your least favorite subject? Reading. So, English language arts. Berkley, what is your favorite subject?
Reading language arts.
What's your least favorite subject?
Math.
So, Ellie, that's not really true, though.
That's not a lie.
Your favorite part of school is what?
Lunch. That's mine. I love lunch.
That's Ellie's, too. Ellie loves lunch.
I like getting
Hey, because we're going to talk about some things that we do as a family and some wins we have as sometimes parents. Mm-hmm. But Daddy really let you down this year one time, didn't he?
Aww.
When did you
You
let us
remember?
down?
Oh, yeah,
Not you.
the Chick-fil-A lunch.
Oh,
Or the one before that.
Oh, Ellie. Oh, yeah.
What was supposed to happen?
I was supposed to eat Chick-fil-A for lunch.
I was supposed to bring it to you?
Oh, I was supposed to... We were having... I was having lunch with my dad, and he forgot to come, and then I was there crying.
And then you cried in the lunchroom because your father let you down? Nothing.
It happens.
Sad thing.
Parents aren't
It
perfect.
did. Actually, I have a good with each of you this year, because Berkley, when you were trying out for Matilda, you told us that you wanted to go for the lead.
Yeah.
And I said, Berkley, you need to
sure?
just know there's a lot of people that are going to try.
You said you probably might not get it.
That's why I said you're probably not going to get it.
Look at me now.
And you looked at me and you said, do you not believe in me?
I did say that.
And I was very sad. So we're broken parents. So we're going to talk about some things that we do successfully as a family. And just know this, we still let them down sometimes
too.
I let y'all down sometimes.
Yes, you do.
We're all
getting out of bed.
Getting out of bed.
That's been difficult lately.
All right, so let's get into it.
Yeah, let's jump into the conversation. Since it's the new year, Geoffrey, you and I have for many years in a row, we've been praying into either at the end of the year or the beginning of the year, we're asking the Lord for a word over that next year. Would you kind of explain what that looks like as just the leader in our family and how you lead out in that?
Yeah, so we're both planners, and we both deal with change poorly.
Oh, yeah.
And so we years ago were trying to figure out a better way to deal with change. So we began to ask the Lord, like you said, at the end of the year or the beginning of the next year, what are some ways, like just, Lord, prepare our hearts.
Yes.
Give us a word, a phrase, something you wanted, your plan is for our family.
Well, even a declaration for the next year.
Yeah, something for us in the next year. And then we would just hold on to it. And so I think the best example I can give of this, like really moving us, was a few years ago, probably 5 or 6 years ago at this point. Wow. I was leaving. We were in a season where the girls were getting older, and they get more high maintenance the older they get sometimes.
Thank you.
So we were feeling like the season of student ministry was going to be over, and so the Lord gave us the word at the end of the year of change. And so we hadn't even gotten to the place actually that we felt like that season was over, but then he told us change, and so we began to pray into that, and then March or April of that year, finally we just couldn't. It just that change piece of us we felt like the Lord was saying. Just
it was a stirring. There was something there.
So unsettled, and so finally I went and I sat down with Pastor David and just told him, hey, I don't know what this means. I'm not saying I'm looking for a job. I'm just saying I feel like change is coming for my family, and I don't know. Well, what I didn't know is that the college pastor at the time had just told them that he was leaving, and so I told Pastor David that, and then met with him like the next day or the day after that, and he was like, all right, hey, do you want to go move your family to the North Campus and become a college pastor over there? And had we not had that word, that really probably would have shaken us. You've grown up at Bellway. You were a chapel kid.
Yeah,
and
back in the chapel days.
We've been here, at that point, we'd been here 15 years, and I'd only attended the South Campus, and so it was kind of the Lord to give us that word. And there's lots of times that's been the case for us in our marriage. We're just feeling like the Lord, or in our family, just feeling like the Lord was preparing us for the next year by giving us something that we could declare, hold tight to, something like that.
Right. Yeah. And I think to add to that, in the past, we've not necessarily invited our kids into this process. And as they're getting older and having their own relationships with Jesus, which we're going to talk about here in just a moment, how they pursue the Lord in community and just what that looks like. We wanted to invite them into that, process as well, because they hear from the Lord. I don't remember what pastor says that, but our children do not have a junior Holy Spirit. They have the same Holy Spirit that we do, that your daddy and I have. He lives inside of you and talks to you and speaks to you, and I know he does that. And so this year will be the first year that we're inviting our children really purposefully, purposefully inviting them into that process of just asking the Lord, okay, Lord, what gifts or things or words do you want us to carry into the next year? What are you declaring or speaking into 2023 on my behalf? And then to add one more piece to this.
I feel like I got y'all's word for the year already. I can tell you, and then y'all can begin to pray into it. But I feel like the word for y'all for this next year is going to be obedience. Does that sound good?
Gosh, Dad.
I feel like that's what the Lord's telling you to do for next year.
Children obey your parents in the Lord. This
you obey
is right.
enough.
I obey you enough.
Ellie, do you receive that word?
Yeah. A few times.
A few times.
Just kidding. Yes, we want them because if we can learn these things from a young age, which you and I both grew up in households that love the Lord, and if we can begin to teach our kids about hearing from the Lord now, and how much further ahead can they be than than the alternative.
Yeah, and I just want to add one more thing to that before we move on to the next topic of our conversation. But another piece that I feel like the Lord is asking me to add to this as the year changes from one year to the next is, Lord, what do you want me to leave in 2022? He started that process with me last year where there were some things I was holding on to. Without going into too much detail, I will just say it was baggage. It was just stuff that had kind of been rolling around in the back of my head, and it was conversations I needed to have with some individuals to just clear the air, if that makes sense, of just like in relationships. And so the Lord was like, do you want to carry this stress and this anxiety with you about these relationships into the new year? And I was like, no, I do not. I really don't. And so I had to have the hard conversations this time last year. And they went way better than expected, but I went into the next year not carrying those things in the back of my head. They weren't major. It was nothing big, and it was nothing, dramatic or anything like that. It was just something was off, and I wanted to make it right and make sure that the air was clear and that we were good and we were on good terms and that we were for each other and all of those things. And so had those conversations, and the Lord was gracious to continue to not only allow me not to have to carry that stuff into the next year. So I already felt so much lighter, but two, just being able to see those conversations have fruit.
Yeah. Girls, what do you think are there as you kind of think about this year? And, next year is going to be 2023. We're almost done with...
That's weird.
It is weird. So we're going to go into 2023. What are there things from this past year that you want to kind of leave in this year and have it be different for next year? Yeah. Berkley, you shook your head. It's an audio podcast, so shaking your head doesn't work. You got to talk and explain it.
Yeah.
So like what? What would you want to leave in this year?
Anxiety and biting my nails.
Okay, that's practical. I would love for you to stop biting your nails.
Seriously. What kind of, when you say anxiety, your
fear mostly?
Yeah, mostly centered around like going to bed and stuff like that?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's okay. Anxiety would probably be on my list too.
Yeah.
What about you, Ellie?
Anxiety.
You feeling anxious too?
About what?
Sometimes I feel bad about how much I weigh.
What?
Yeah.
Or I get worried about it because I see people in my class that are super skinny. And I look at me and I'm like, that's not me.
That's something that make you feel anxious for sure.
Yeah.
Daddy feels that way sometimes too.
How?
Well, Daddy could stand to lose a few pounds. less roses and more gym. So.
Well, Ellie Kate, I just have to say you are fearfully and wonderfully made. And the Lord has made you perfect. And we love you. And you are beautiful inside and out.
And that haircut looks real good.
Yeah, you got a new haircut.
You have a new haircut that is adorable. And you are just the most, everybody knows this about you, but you bring light everywhere you go, darling.
All right, closer.
You are just full of light and laughter and love. And you make us laugh so hard. We have the hardest belly laughs with you because you're so much fun.
This is one of the memories we have at the dinner table.
Yeah, we're going to get to that.
We're going to get to that, yeah, of
we could tell stories at the dinner table.
Yeah.
Oh, so many.
We could tell stories of just things you say. Can we tell the story? Let me tell the story.
Yes, the story. Mary and Joseph.
Can we tell the Mary and Joseph story?
Mary and Joseph.
It's such a great Ellie story. No one's gonna hear it.
Tell it.
Don't yell into the mic. All right. So this was like really recent.
This was like
This was like 2 weeks ago, maybe. So Ellie told me, she said, you looked at me in the car and you said, Dad, I'm going to prank you. And I said, okay, you told me. Now I'm going to be watching
Why
out for it.
would you say that, Ellie?
So then...
I don't want to prank him at some points.
At home, you tried to prank me.
What'd she do?
I don't remember what you did. Do you remember?
I was making you... I said, kiss me. And I was going to shove a candy in your mouth that you really didn't like.
Yes, that is.
That's a terrible prank.
And so I was like, no, I'm not going to do that. I said, Ellie, what you got to understand is I'm way smarter than you. And she goes, what'd you say?
I said,
if you're so smart.
What's my left butt cheek's name?
And I said, I have no idea what it is. And what did you say?
I said Mary, and the other one's Joseph. And when I squeezed them, they kissed.
You didn't have to say that part. She said one's Mary and the other's Joseph. And so I was like, I mean, that took me by surprise, to say the least. And so then, like, 3 or 4 days later,
brings it up again.
You were bringing a smart aleck. And sometimes I say...
I wonder where they get that from.
Yes. They get it from
I don't know.
From their mother.
No,
and,
what? Other way.
And
Alert.
I told you that I was playing, and I said I was going to give you a spanking. And what did you say?
No.
Oh, no. Not Mary and Joseph.
I forgot.
And that is what it's like living with Ellie Catherine Turner.
Yeah. It's always a ride.
I'm watching you, Wazowski.
All right. Let's keep going on.
Watching.
Good Mike Wazowski.
That was a really good impression, baby. Okay, so moving on, because it's time to move on.
Yes. Yeah, we should have moved on before that, maybe.
I know.
Why'd you bring it up?
But, okay, Geoffrey, you're learning some new things to carry into the new year, and I'm just going to let you handle this part, and we'll just, if you want to share a little bit about what you're learning as far as, like, how to organize your thoughts and how to organize your tasks, and what that looks like. We just did that this last week when it came to this weekend, which was going to be pretty busy.
Yep.
And so why don't you dive into that real quick?
So I read a book called Getting Things Done, and it is kind of a boring book. I mean, it's really well written, but it's a book on organization. So
always boring about organization.
I mean,
boring in
no
general.
one gets super excited about organizing. But
Yay, organizing.
I do.
Mom does.
Ellie does.
I do.
Ellie and Mom.
So
love cleaning.
But part of what he talks about in there is we often keep all of our thoughts in our heads, and we don't have a way to process them. I mean, he talks about, it goes down to like office organization, home organization, but you need an inbox, you need to be a way to process stuff. But the biggest thing he says is that we have so many things and tasks and responsibilities that stay in our head, and we don't have a way to process them and like get them out of our head, and we stay stressed because those thoughts stay in our head, and we just have to make sure that we remember them instead of taking them and getting them written down and knowing how we're going to process them and do them. And then one of the biggest things that I learned from that book is we often have these like 2-minute tasks that you can do in 2 minutes or less. And what happens is we make a mental note of it and we try to remember it. And that's that thought swirling in your head, or we even write it down on a to-do list, but it takes 2 minutes.
Right.
So in almost the amount of time that it took to pull out your phone, go open a new task, and put it down in there, you could have just accomplished the task.
Yeah.
And so I think that 2-minute task one is one that I'm trying to implement in my life of going, hey, if it's something that I can do in 2 minutes, I just need to get it done, and not I don't try to just keep it stuck in my head. Yeah. So that's something I'm trying to work on professionally, but then also at home. And
we're working on it at home.
Because the girls, the older they get, the more just stuff they bring home from school.
Yes.
And papers and what are the Bulldog news. And
dress up days.
Yeah, they're always asking, when are our dress up days? What tests? And just having a way to process all that, and then knowing what we need to do and what's coming.
Right. There's been something that I've been remembering as far as like home stuff, and it's just a little soundtrack in the back of my head. It's like, don't put it down, put it away. Like, don't put it down, put it away.
Yeah.
It takes maybe 2 seconds to actually put it away where it goes. And the problem that I run into is not having a place for it to go.
This feels like Mom's making a subtle dig at me about my shoes.
No.
And about cleaning the playroom, she's like, just put it away where it goes. Don't shove it in random drawers.
That's you,
You're not going to be able to find it later.
That's you shoving it under a desk.
Okay, moving on. All right. So another piece that I wanted us to just kind of go into just for a moment is communication and expectation.
Yeah.
That's a big part of relationships and family, and with friendships and just everything, really. It boils down to communication and expectation. And you and I have done a lot of premarital counseling in the past with lots of sweet, amazing couples that have gotten married.
So much premarital counseling. We've pretty much done it consistently for the last 10 years, so having at least a couple doing it.
Yeah. And the biggest piece that you and I hope our couples that do premarital with us walk away from their premarital time is really understanding how important and valuable communication is, and how important and valuable communicating your expectations are. Yeah. And so I'd like for you to just real quick hit that, and then we'll move on to the next
So if you
topic.
think about it, the baseline of any single frustration is an expectation that you have that didn't get met. So if if I expect you to make dinner one night, which I can use this example because I'm the one who usually makes dinner. But if I expected you to make dinner one night and I never asked you to make dinner, and it was going to be a shift in our norm because I'm usually the one that takes care of dinner. But in my brain, I expected you to do it and you didn't do it. I would be frustrated because you did not meet my expectation. However, I never communicated the expectation to you, and we agreed that it is a fair expectation. Mm-hmm. And so every fight in a marriage, every fight even with kids is a place that somebody expected something that didn't get done.
Right.
And the way that you head those frustrations off at the pass is you communicate what you expect, and you agree that this expectation is fair. So we do this with the kids. We tell them often at night, I tell them, all right, we're going to pick up the house. We're going to pick out our clothes. We're going to make lunch, brush teeth. And I tell you that, and that's my expectation. And then last night, Berkley, we had this, was it last night? Maybe the night before.
The night before. Last night.
I told y'all, all right, we're cleaning up the house. We're going to get it ready. And then I came in your room, and what were you doing?
I was trying to play music.
You were trying to play music on your phone, and what was I?
Angry.
Frustrated because you didn't do what I expected you to do, and I had communicated that expectation.
Can I tell something?
Sure. I mean, I'm scared of what you're going to say, but go ahead.
Okay, so one time Daddy told us while we were in the car, and he told us to get ready and do what we do every night. And I took so much time just cleaning my room that when y'all were on the couch singing, I was getting changed. And that's the second thing we do.
Yeah.
Like the third. And then I walked in there and I was like, I'm ready. And Mommy was like, have you made lunch, picked out clothes? I obviously see you're in pajamas. And then she asked me if I had brushed my teeth, went potty, and brushed my hair. And I said, no. And so I brushed my hair, came back in there. Have you gone potty? Went brush teeth.
No.
Brush teeth. Go back in there. She says, have you gone potty? And I said, no. So I went to the bathroom, and I was in there, and they were already in the bed. They just decided to sing without me.
But that's
not what we want to do, though.
We're communicating what we expect, and within a marriage, within parenting, within friendships, honestly, if we can learn to communicate what we expect, and then we have a mutual agreement on that expectation being a fair expectation. So with you working Wednesday nights, if I had an expectation and I told you, hey, I want you to make dinner for us Wednesday night, that's an unfair expectation. It's an expectation you cannot meet. And so we would just have to agree, okay, this is not a fair expectation. So we try to do that. We do it imperfectly, for sure.
Absolutely.
But we try to do that, and always try to, when we do premarital, that is one of the things that I hope every couple leaves with.
Right. Because it's very important to communicate like what you expect and to honor that. It's a way we can love one another, is to really listen to what's communicated. And sometimes, I mean, hopefully that's mostly verbal. Sometimes I guess it could be nonverbal, but hopefully most of the time it's verbal. And then we can love one another out of that.
Yeah.
So, all right. So one of the other things that we communicate often is our family calendar.
Oh my gosh.
All right, what do we say about the family calendar? If it's not on the
If
calendar,
it's on the calendar, it doesn't exist.
It doesn't exist.
There we go. And that's one way we can all stay kind of on the same page, especially you and I, Jeffrey.
We
stay
share
on the same page.
iCloud count. We share an Apple calendar.
Yes.
That is just our family stuff. And so if we have a dinner with friends, if we're working, I don't work every plus Thursday or every Wednesday, but I kind of rotate between those. So those get put on there.
Family
big
gatherings, big events. Anytime
Birthdays.
we have anything going on, it goes on the family calendar. If it's going to affect the family, it goes on the family calendar.
Yeah.
So things with the kids at school, expectations there, always go on the family calendar so that Jeff and I are on the same page as far as like our family schedule.
Yeah. And then that leads us to sometimes making hard decisions about when we look at it, because then we can make a fair judge of do we have time to say yes to anything else.
Yeah.
And so, Ellie, girl, we had to have this conversation with you just the other day. We were sitting at the table, and ballet registration was opening, and you really wanted to do both ballet and hip hop this year.
Yeah.
And we had to talk about how many things do we let y'all do outside of, or how many things do you get to do outside of church, school, and family stuff?
You get to do one activity because if I had something more than once, like I would have hip hop, and then on a different day, I would have ballet if I wanted to do ballet, which I did.
Yep.
But I chose hip hop over it because my dad reminded me that if I did do ballet, we would have one dinner with family.
We would only have one night a week.
I didn't like that.
Yeah, based on all of our other commitments as a family, there was only one evening left of the week.
If we'd done two things.
If we had done two things, yeah.
And that's been it
wasn't an easy decision for her.
But you processed it maturely, and you were sad, because that's okay to be sad when we have to say no to things. But it was the right decision in the end, I think.
I knew I was going to choose hip-hop, even though I wanted to do ballet, but not as much as I like hip-hop.
You do like hip-hop.
You do, and you're really good at it.
Thank you.
Well, that kind of leads us into one of our family values that Jeff, you and I didn't do this when they were little, but as they started growing up, we really held a strong value of being around the dinner table and having a meal together and having conversation and not being on our phones and just being intentional about that time. And I know you already mentioned this, but Jeff is the cook in the family, so
I love to cook.
He does love to cook.
He's good at it.
And we love to sit around the dinner table and eat your yummy food. So let's talk about our family value of family dinner and what that looks like.
Yeah, I'm not sure the girls like to eat my yummy food. They like to eat.
We like to eat macaroni, spaghetti, ramen noodles, and that's pretty much it.
Pasta.
Okay,
Burgers,
Berkley. What's your favorite meal that your daddy cooks you?
Spaghetti with meat sauce.
Spaghetti with meat sauce.
And bread.
Okay,
I don't
Ellie.
make the bread. That's store-bought bread.
Store-bought bread. What's the difference?
Well, it's profoundly different.
Mine is either Mexican pylon or that one soup that I never tried before.
Chicken and gnocchi.
Chicken and gnocchi,
which was delicious.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm going to put these in the show notes. It'll be fun.
Imitation chicken and gnocchi.
I absolutely devoured that meal.
You did. And you know what? This is a place that you don't like to eat that now you can. It's a Olive Garden recipe. And you don't like Olive Garden.
We're going to Olive Garden now.
And now we can
Let's go eat dinner
Yay,
there.
Chicken and gnocchi?
They have chicken and gnocchi. That's that recipe.
Do you remember what gnocchi is?
It's the pasta with chicken inside.
Well, but you remember what the actual dumpling is called?
Remember what the dumpling, the gnocchi, what's it made out of?
Chupata.
That's not even a word. It's a potato.
Oh. Potato, tomato, tomato. We need to coconut.
So we like to do dinner at home when we can. We sit down and talk about our days.
Yeah, what are the expectations around family dinner?
Don't burp.
That is an expectation. We fail miserably.
Don't fart.
That is a deeper expectation.
If you don't make the food, you have to clean it up.
That's right.
If everyone makes the food, everyone
has
cleans
to clean it up.
Yeah, that's actually enticed y'all to help.
Therein lies maybe why you love to cook so much. Because you don't want to clean.
It's why I initially started to like to cook, because that has been our rule. If whoever cooks doesn't clean.
Right.
And I am a disaster of a cook. So, it just make a huge mess. There's a mess everywhere.
So you like us cleaning more?
I would prefer you clean and
I
not
will be
cook.
honest, and I will say I don't mind the cleaning. I'd rather clean. So.
I would too.
It works
I'd
for
rather
us.
organize than
I'd rather
clean.
cook.
I love organizing.
Another one is don't get up from the table without asking.
Yeah, you cannot be excused until you ask.
Yeah.
And if you sit at the big kid table at Gigi Papa's, you are a big kid, so you can't
get
up when the
adults are still talking.
Unless you're getting seconds, which I do.
Every time.
If you want to be a big kid, you got to be a big kid.
Yeah.
You got to sit there and you got to talk and you got to look
Listen.
at people and listen.
The reason that I don't choose to be a baby is because y'all would probably put me in diapers.
Diapers at 9
You
years
think
old?
I would put you in a diaper?
Yeah, if
Nobody
I'm
wants
gonna
to
be
change that diaper.
If I'm gonna be a baby, I'm gonna be a baby.
Are you?
Okay.
But I'll change my diaper.
TMI.
I'm efficient.
You're efficient. All right, let's move off of your diaper.
Okay, this leads us into one of the things that Ellie Kate mentioned earlier about a family value of what we do at the family dinner table when we have a special birthday or a Mother's Day or Father's Day or a celebration.
Yeah.
So let's go into that. What does that look like and when did that start?
We call this the Kelly.
The Kelly.
The Kelly.
Why is it called
classic,
the Kelly?
Because he made it up.
And who is Kelly?
Our uncle.
And what did he do? What did he make up?
He made up a tradition where anytime it's someone's birthday, we go around the table from youngest to oldest and say what we love about that person and tell them happy Mother's Day, happy birthday, happy Father's Day, whatever
the
it is.
holiday is.
Happy Grandpa's Day.
I don't think we celebrate that, do we?
What?
Grandpa's Day?
No.
Is
that even a thing?
Yes,
Ellie,
that's
do
a thing.
Do you like doing the Kelly?
The Kelly's
Because
special.
you're a big encourager.
Yes.
Yeah.
I like encouraging people.
Yeah.
You're a good encourager.
Yep, it is fun. We've done it. I don't know how long we've done it.
We've
now,
done it
but-
for a long time.
Yeah, it's a unique. I mean, it makes dinner long. So,
It makes dinner forever.
and it's always a game in your family, at least, of who's going to cry first.
Oh, for sure.
It's usually Katie, Gigi, or Mom.
It's
who
one of
cries
the three
first.
of them, usually that cries first. It's never been me.
It's
Never been me.
usually whoever goes first
Cries first.
cries first.
Well, it depends on
Bunch
what
of
they're
criers.
saying and who they're saying it to.
So, yeah, it's a really sweet. I mean, we go around the table, and as soon as kids
we-
are old enough to
yeah.
talk, and you just look at the person and
Yeah, we
tell
have
them.
Even though
and
sometimes
I have a nephew who's 3, and he does it too.
He does.
So, and he,
most of the
just
time
says
he,
happy birthday,
he just
honestly.
says he just says love you, and then just goes to go play whatever he wants to go
says,
do.
"Love you."
but
happy
he's
birthday,
being
bye.
he's being a part, and he's seeing
Yeah.
it. He's seeing
And
it
it's
being
still good.
modeled. Yeah, he's seeing it being modeled, and that's important. So
Yeah.
it's fun for our family to do that and to do it before gifts are exchanged because. We really do want to celebrate the individual, whoever it may be, or
Yeah.
the mothers that we're celebrating, or the fathers that we're celebrating. And life is too short not to speak, what is in our heart for another person. And our society isn't really that great at saying and speaking into those things. And so we do make it very like an intentional time that we always sit around the table and we encourage our family.
Yeah.
And
so
spouses
it's
go
very-
last.
Yeah.
Yes, that is true.
Spouses go last. That's right.
What's a spouse?
So
A
usually
spouse
me
is
and
a-
Ellie.
I am
yeah.
mommy's spouse.
Usually
husband
me
or
and
wife.
Ellie.
Oh.
Okay, so switching gears, we just got, we're going to talk about a few more things and then we're going to be done. But girls, I would love for you to speak into what are you praying about right now when you talk to God?
Ellie, do you want to go first? Do you want me to go first?
I usually, if someone's sick, I pray for them, or if I'm sick, or if someone's in the hospital, or like when we drive by and we see an ambulance, helicopter, where I always try to pray for them in my head.
Yeah, you do that a lot at night too,
You
when
do.
you have friends and stuff that are sick.
Yeah.
Yeah, you definitely remember the people in your life. When we're praying at night, you go, oh, I need to pray for so-and-so because they went home sick today.
Yeah.
And so that's very sweet. You do have a compassionate heart for people who are sick.
A lot of people went sick this past week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jenna's sick.
Yeah.
What about you, B?
Kind of for a good day the next day. If I had a bad day that day, I pray for whatever I had a bad day about. And kind of just like in my head, I try to let it go. And usually I do that before night, bedtime. And I kind of just pray about like what I need to pray about in the moment. Like if someone's sick or if
you have anxiety.
I have anxiety, usually that's what I pray about. Or for like more confidence the next day. Just things that I'm doing in my day-to-day life, like getting good grades, stuff like that.
You talk to him about the things that matter and the things
Yeah.
that are going on in your life.
Yeah,
Yeah.
life.
One of the other things I wanted to talk about, this is not bad.
Okay. Is it on subject?
No.
No.
I'm praying.
Okay,
is
there you go.
when I pray to God, He doesn't talk back to me. He shows me. Like if I pray one night and then I pray for 2 more nights, the next day they're back and they're healthy.
Oh,
Or
really?
Oh, that's
Yeah.
so
He doesn't-
cool.
He doesn't answer me with words. He
Yeah.
answers me with showing me.
Yeah, that's often how
That's
God
sweet.
speaks to us. I don't
Yeah.
think I've never heard the audible voice of God, but that's often how it's just something I feel. He answers or
He just
something like that.
shows me.
Yeah.
Sometimes I have dreams about what I like, about what I prayed for, and it kind of just like is God talking to me, because usually I'll have the dream more than once in about like a week, and I'll just realize like He wants me to pray about this, or that what I prayed for is getting better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Cool.
you and I have talked about dreams oftentimes
Yeah.
because you'll have a dream and we'll talk through it. And
Yeah,
we'll
because
go,
Mom's
okay.
a dreamer.
do we think this is from the Lord? Like, is this something that you feel like he's speaking to you about? And what is it that you feel like he's highlighting? And a lot of times we'll end up going to the Word if there's something in there that can bring encouragement to you when it comes to your dreams, because the Lord loves to talk to us in our sleep.
Yes.
So, yeah.
And thinking of dreams, when we ever have bad dreams, we always go to our dad because he always has an encouraging word to tell us.
And he actually wakes up. Mom's just like, okay.
Mom, she doesn't remember it.
They do not go to my side of the bed in the middle of the night. They go to Dad's side because
Dad actually gets up and puts
really asleep.
Sleeps harder than me, yeah.
He always knows what to say.
Well, thank you.
Like
Dad does know what to say.
He's always saying, if you ever have a bad dream, just come to me and it's okay.
Yeah.
Because
that's what dads are for.
Yeah.
That's what
dads are for.
That should be on a coffee mug. That's what dads are for.
Yeah.
Well, is there anything else that y'all want to say before we close up today? I think that's
What are some things, I was trying to think about this just a second ago. What are some things, like phrases we say as a family? Think of things that we tell y'all all the time.
Oh, you are safe, you're protected, you're secure.
We do say that when we're feeling.
That before bed.
And when I'm trying to help too much, you say,
sometimes helping's not helpful.
Sometimes helping's not helpful.
That's
right.
Yeah.
And then I get used to it, and then when I'm tired, I'm like, oh, whatever.
I don't feel like
Are there any other ones? I was trying to think about that. What are some phrases we use as a family? I can't think of any other ones.
We like,
well, the family calendar one is
family calendar one's a big one.
Yeah.
With the wings.
I've never heard y'all say that, though.
We say it all the time.
I've heard y'all say
I've
it.
never heard y'all say that.
Until today?
Sometimes you're not listening.
I'm not listening a lot of times.
I know.
Also,
listen, Linda, we say that.
Oh, yeah.
We do say that. That's
we
right.
do say that. And then my dad does this quacky voice. He's like,
What?
What?
He's like, he moves his mouth like
Oh,
when you do an alligator, and he says,
Yeah, I use this sign language for no.
Yeah, he does sign language for no. He's like, don't do that right now.
I've done that in this podcast.
Yes, you have when I'm talking too much, which I have done, like now.
All right, so as we wrap up, what are y'all looking forward to and what do you hope for 2023? Ellie, can you go first?
I'm looking forward to seeing more family out of town because we have a lot of people who live way out of town and people are moving closer. So I think that's a really good thing to look forward to for the next year.
So
good.
Travel and community. That's good.
All right, B.
I'm kind of just looking forward to a new year. New year, just new days, 365 more days to live life. And kind of just looking forward to travel, to family time, and definitely summer. Not being
Already
in school.
looking forward to summer?
Already looking forward to summer, yeah.
I don't know. Well, I'm looking forward to a lot of things in this year.
Me too.
I'm looking forward to, we're getting to go to Israel for the first time. Never done that. So I'm looking forward to just another year watching these two get older. It is both fun and sad all the time. So it's a weird dynamic as a parent. Yeah. So yeah, that'd be what I'm looking forward to. What about you?
I'm looking forward to saying yes to the things that the Lord leads me to and just doing more of what we've been doing. I've stepped into a new season this year, and so get to continue to walk into that season and thankful for where the Lord has us. He moved us about this time last year into a new neighborhood and into new schools and for the girls, and we came back to the South Campus from North Campus. And so this year has been a year of transition for us as a family.
I was thinking a year of being settled.
Yeah. So very much looking forward to just digging our feet deeper into what the Lord has for this next year. So, well, thank you guys so much for having a conversation for the podcast for the very first episode of 2023.
Here's to 2023.
Oh,
All right. So let's wish everybody a happy new year. Can we do that?
Yeah.
We can do it on 3.
Yep. 1, 2, 3.
Happy New Year!
Okay, well, that was a conversation.
It was an adventure, that is for sure.
We laughed a lot in that
did.
conversation. It was
We did
lots
have to
of
start
fun.
over once because of the laughter.
Yes,
So.
yes. But the girls did great. I was really proud of them.
It was good, yeah. It was
It was
awesome.
lots of fun. Although, there is one thing that you and I kind of looked at each other and we were like, did you know that?
Yeah. So Ellie, when she was talking, we were talking about anxiety, which we've known Berkley has struggled with some. Ellie brought up body image stuff. Mm-hmm. We've never heard that before, ever.
No indication at all that she has ever struggled with that.
That is the very first time we heard it. Yeah. Which, you put a microphone in somebody's face and all of a sudden sometimes
the truth comes out.
They'll say the real things. But so we just hit it just a little bit in the podcast, but then afterwards we talked to her, you and I both, we told Berkley to go do something, and we just sat and talked to Ellie and go, hey, talk us through that a little bit. We've never heard that. How often do you feel that? Is that something that you struggle with a while?
Right.
And then we'll treat it the same way we've done. I mean, Berkley's stuff, we've known her anxiety. And it's almost always about sleep, which is so funky. But we gave her some declarations that she can...
From Scripture.
Yeah. So she said it in the podcast, but I'm safe, I'm secure, I'm loved.
Safe, protected, secure. But we also started, when she was really little, we taught her that Scripture about we do not have a spirit of fear.
Yeah.
And so since she was so tiny, we just said, here's your declaration. We do not. And she would say, we do not. And then we would say, have a spirit of fear. And she would say, have a spirit of fear.
Yeah.
And of course, the rest of that Scripture is, but we have a sound mind. Like we do not have a spirit of fear, but of power and love and of a sound mind.
Yeah.
And so teaching her that, I mean, it's stuck in her, because that's what the word does, is it goes forward, it accomplishes what it's supposed to accomplish.
Yeah.
And so it doesn't mean that she didn't still struggle with anxiety. I mean, we're still teaching her to walk through that today. But that's similar to how we wanted to approach the things with Ellie. It's like, okay, this is a new struggle that we didn't know about. And Lord, like Jeff and I, we talked about this after the conversation ended, and we talked to Ellie, and we were like, okay, are we going to leave that in the podcast? Are we not? Because I don't know. And it was like, no, we leave it, and we talk about how we're going to navigate this as parents.
Yeah, because it's the real stuff of life.
The real stuff of life. And, the enemy comes after us all, including our kiddos. And so he's coming after our family too. And what are we going to do? Are we going to be on the off, are we going to just let it go? Or are we going to be aggressive with how we're going to attack the enemy and go, no, you do not have this authority in our family. And we're just going to stake our claim and take that territory back. So.
Yep. Yeah, we did talk about, should we leave it in? It's a pretty raw moment of vulnerability, but I think, we kind of landed on yes, because that is probably the reality of where more of our kids are at than probably we think.
It starts younger than you realize.
And as parents, we just have to listen. And we got to hear those like little moments and little things they might say that give us an indication into, because sometimes they're processing this, like they don't even know what they're processing. So they're feeling things and they don't know how to process the things that they're feeling. And that's part of growing up. And so if we can just, as parents, listen and grab hold of those teachable moments, and then we'll keep coming back to it with Ellie. We'll do it in different ways. We will help give her some declarations that she can pray over herself and believe over herself and hold tight to. And so, yeah, it was interesting.
It was interesting, but thankful to do this with you.
Yeah, it's great. It's a good podcast. It was fun to do.
Yeah. Well, thanks you guys so much for listening, and we hope that you were encouraged by the conversation, our crazy conversation with our crazy family.
Yeah.
But man, Happy New Year, you guys. We're so thankful that you are tuning in to the Beyond Sundays podcast. We hope you guys have a wonderful day. And remember, God is moving all the time, and He's moving in your life too and your family's life. Beyond Sundays.